I'm Yanisheng Yuar, and in this how-to, we're going to look over the new Player's Handbook for D&D 5.5 or D&D 5 2024 edition of the Player's Handbook, specifically the weapons, because there's a new addition to weapons that I think is rather neat. And people are going to say it's kind of like Boulder Gates 3, which, yeah, but also neat. So let's dive right on in. So just as in normal, it's going to have the normal category. It's going to be melee range damage. It's going to have its properties, and then it's going to have its mastery property also. So what that means is obviously the only thing really is going to be paying attention that potentially changed, because I don't think anything specifically changed between the two. And here is the list of the weapons. You can find this on D&D Beyond. This is free. I didn't actually pay for this at all. This came out of it. As you can see, there is this extra category right here for mastery. And what mastery means is certain classes start with the weapon mastery feat, which allows them to use this particular property of a weapon. But let's go look into the properties and the actual and weapon mastery properties, because those are the fun bits. But also the regular weapon properties have changed potentially slightly. For example, the big one that I saw when I first read this was heavy. With the heavy property, you have disadvantage on attack rolls with a heavy weapon if it's a melee weapon and your strength score isn't at least 13, or if it's ranged and your dexterity isn't 13. So that disadvantage at melee range with long range weapons is now gone. For example, the longbow is actually a heavy weapon, and because it is a heavy weapon, gives disadvantage at 5 feet. But if your dexterity is above 13, that is no longer disadvantage, which I think that makes beautiful sense. But also, if you notice, it has the slow effect. So if we keep on going down, we will see that light has changed too, because this actually affects our dual wielding ability. When you make the attack action with a light weapon, you can make an extra attack as a bonus action. You might know this as, dual wielding 2 dagger. You roll twice to attack, but you don't add your attack modifier to damage on your second poke, in this case the bonus action poke. However, if you have a dagger, the dagger has one of the properties that affects that. So you'll have to go see what that looks like in a second. Then loading is the same. Range, reach, thrown. I'm pretty sure that is pretty much the same. And now let's look at the mastery properties of weapons. We're going to start this in alphabetical order because that's the way it is in the book. So we're going to start with cleave. So if you hit a creature with a melee attack rolling with this weapon, you will make a melee attack with the weapon against a second creature of 5 feet of the first if it is also within reach. When a hit, the second creature takes the weapon's damage, but don't add your ability modifier to that damage unless the modifier is negative. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. So what this means is you get an equivalent to a dual wielding bonus action without an actual bonus action. It's just another attack roll, assuming they're within 5 feet. And then we have graze. If you miss your attack, so if you smack them and you miss, you add your ability modifier for them as damage, period. So regardless that the fact that you missed, you still hit them. So your ability modifier is how much damage you did instead. So usually, they're probably like 3 or 4 damage for the most part, maybe 5, since I'm pretty sure this is a 2-handed weapon type of situation. Large swords, great swords. And then we have Nick. Nick, I am in love with. When you make the extra attack of the light property, as in, dual wielding daggers, you can make the attack as part of the attack action instead of the bonus action. Keep in mind you can only make one attack once per turn. So what this means is if you're, say, a ranger, because you will have this weapon mastery property to be able to use, you would be able to poke them 3 times with attack rolls instead of attack, attack, bonus action to attack, which means that you could use your bonus action to do something else instead. So for example, use your bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark on the creature in front of you and then whip out your daggers and attack, attack, and then with offhand, attack. It's the same exact setup. You don't add your, modifier to the damage, so you still get the, in this case, I'm pretty sure it's 1d4 for daggers, so you get the 3d4. I think that's freaking awesome. And then we have the next is push. If you hit a creature with this weapon, you can push the creature up to 10 feet straight away from yourself if it's large or smaller. Push them up to 10 feet away. Anyway, and then we have sap. If you hit a creature with this weapon, the creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. And then we have slow. If you hit a creature with this weapon and you deal damage to it, you can reduce the speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. Next, we have topple. If you hit a creature with this weapon, you can force it to make a constitution save, and on a failed save, it is knocked prone. But again, prone condition, it means that they are on the ground. They have 0 movement and attacks with advantage and all that good stuff. The DC is the classic 8 plus the ability modifier and proficiency bonus. So realistically, the proficiency bonus is going to be about 3 or 4 depending on your high levels. So the 8 plus 3 or 4 is 12, and you're going to use the ability modifier for the attack roll, which is easily going to be probably eventually 3, 4, potentially 5 range. So if you say, it's about 4, so we have 4, 4, and so we have the proficiency bonus of 4, which would equal 12, and then the ability modifier of, say, let's strength or dexterity is a 4, and that 12 plus 4 is 16. So that's a DC 16 Constitution save, or they're knocked prone. And then last, we have Vex. If you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage, you have advantage on your next attack roll. So think of it as, I think the hand axe has this thing. So you are a ranger, you come up with the hand axe, flip them around, smack, and then since you're dual wielding, you use advantage from your bonus action to hit them again with another axe, and that's exactly how that would work. And just a quick aside, you got to pay attention to these specific masteries. For example, they mostly come in a once per turn situation, but also other ones, you need to pay attention to the flavor that they last until the start of your next turn. And the exception is Vex, because you actually have advantage until the end of your next turn instead. So make sure you pay attention to. And thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time, because I have some more tutorials and ideas to work around with. And if you have any questions or comments or any tutorial ideas, just feel free to let me know. I'll see what I can do. Yanis over and out.